Hi, we're here with Hardy Nickerson, longtime All-Pro from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Pittsburgh Steelers, college coach, and a longtime teammate of Demetrius DuBose. Hardy, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. So I understand you're from Compton, California.
Yeah, born and raised in Compton, California. That's where I'm from, South Central. Went to high school in the heart of Watts, at a small school called Bourbon Day High School, small Catholic school right there. So yeah, that's where I'm from.
And I guess you really don't say Compton, California. You just say Compton. I mean, everyone knows what we're talking about.
Yeah, but when you're from Compton, you say Compton, California.
So, okay, I'm not. I'm from Hammond, Indiana. So,
yeah.
So, tell me what it was like growing up. What was your childhood like? What were teenage years like?
Grow up in Compton, you had to be tough around there. Things, the way things were back then, I should say. My family was there. Mother and father worked a lot. All I wanted to do as a kid growing up was to do something to make my parents proud of me. And I found this football thing. I'd been bugging my parents enough about playing football. They finally let me play some contact football, and got into that, and then went from this sheriff league where I played for the Athens Park Packers, and moved on from there to Bourbon Day High School. And sports have been a huge part of my childhood. If I wasn't playing it, I was playing playing with baseball cards and football cards, and even had this little game called Stratomatic football, Stratomatic baseball. Be playing that. Just doing everything trying to do as much as I could to stay out of trouble. And then when I got to high school, one of the stories is, so when I played youth football, I was an offensive center. So growing up, my goal out there was to be the first Black center in the NFL. Well, a guy named Dwight Stevens beat me to that years before I could even attempt it. And of course, I didn't get big enough to do that. So when I got to high school, I still played center. And then right before my junior year, I went to a football camp, and I decided, I'm gonna play. We'd gone to this camp. We did offense in the morning, defense in the afternoon. And I decided, man, I'm gonna give linebacker a shot, because I know I'm gonna play offensive line, play offensive center at my school. And shucks, I played linebacker at the camp. I won the most improved player there, and started getting recruited from there.
And so you end up at Cal. Tell us about Cal Berkeley.
I didn't know much about Cal, to be honest. I was being recruited heavily by USC, and some of the other schools, Arizona State, Arizona, they were recruiting me pretty heavy, and I didn't know much about Cal until the actual play when they beat Stanford. The 5 lateral play.
Yeah.
And so I remember seeing that, and the Monday after that play, this coach, actually a couple coaches, show up on campus from Cal, and it's Joe Cap and a few of his assistant coaches, and they come to my school to see me. And shucks, it was when I took my visit there, it was love at first sight. I loved it up here in Berkeley in Northern California, and I felt like I was at home, and just that's where it all started.
Yeah, I spent some time in Oakland. I actually went to film school in San Francisco, and
Okay.
I fell in love with it. When I walked on campus at Berkeley, I felt like, oh my goodness, this actually feels like home. This feels more like how I feel. But you
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah.
I'm thankful for the places I've been and gone, but it's a magnificent area, and you have to just feel it to understand it. You have to be there to understand it, and some people have that connection to it, and so
Absolutely.
that's cool. So okay, let's talk about the Buccaneers. I know you started with the Steelers and ended up with the Buccaneers, signed as a free agent in 93. 93 is the same year that, early second round pick. I think you guys had the fourth pick in the draft that year. So he and you guys play the same position, Mike linebacker. Tell me what your memories are of Demetrius, like your first memories of Demo.
My first memories were, man, this dude's pretty big linebacker, pretty good football player. So they brought me in as a free agent, and I was to play Mike, and then Demetrius, as it started out, he was slated to be the will linebacker, and he played will. He and I played side by side a lot that first year, and then by our third year, I think he became a Mike linebacker.
Okay.
But great guy, work ethic out of this world. Loved him to death, loved him to death, and I just remember him always keeping the meeting rooms interesting, and having fun, having a lot of fun around the game.
What would he say? What were some of the things that he would do to keep those meetings interesting?
Well,
Or just what was,
just
it wasn't anything specific he said.
just nothing specific, but just keeping things light, you always had the feeling that with Demo, it was all about the team. It didn't matter about it's just all about the team, and all about everybody doing whatever they could to win. And that was the biggest thing with Demo. He wanted to win so bad. The passion that he showed up with, from the meeting rooms to practice field, the weight room to off-season training, all that. Just his unbelievable passion.
Yeah, and how competitive would it get at practice? Because I know he's just from my perspective, and a lot of our perspective as teammates from college, we still don't quite understand how he didn't start, like how he didn't start. He played situationally in running, preferably running downs, right? Short yardage situations, he'd come in. And then he was an outstanding special teams player. I mean, I would just focus in on him. I saw him play at Soldier. You guys play at Soldier Field once.
Yeah.
I saw guys' bodies flying off of him when he's on the kickoff team. I mean, he was just destroying people. But I don't know if that's my perspective because I, loved him, and still do. But or if that was, I saw what I saw.
He was a unbelievable special teams player, it just became, of course, I wasn't a coach, and I didn't make those decisions. Who was gonna play, who wasn't gonna get to play. But I think our first year was me, Demo, and I think Broderick Thomas, and then the second year was myself and the Buccaneers assigned Lonnie Martz. So it was me, Demo, Lonnie Martz, and that third year we were there. It's hard to argue when they drafted Derrick Brooks, and of course you had me already there, and then Lonnie was had been there. But it just made for a very, man, I tell you, very competitive linebacking room, and some guys that were hungry and wanted to win, and played hard and really got after the football.
Yeah. And so Demetrius, when he was on the field, did you ever see him like lose his temper or anything like that? Or what kind of a guy was he? Like, he was ultra competitive. He would,
Oh
from
yeah, I
my,
mean, he was ultra competitive. I mean, he just love you know, just I call it being passionate about the game, you know, and just being being a competitor. You know, shoot, he didn't take any downs off. And, you know, on the practice field, you knew that, hey, he wasn't going to take any downs off in practice. He's working to get better, and he was going to work to help his teammates get better. And so, you know, when you were going against him in a drill, or, you know, an inside run or any of those drills, team period, whatever, guys knew that, hey, I gotta buckle up because he's gonna bring it.
yeah, we interviewed Brad Culpepper about a year ago, and he mentioned that even in like walkthroughs and stuff, that he'd kind of go all out, and sometimes it irritate, you know, the other side of the ball a little bit. But
The offensive guys, the guys on the other side of the ball didn't like it at all. Because, you know, but hey, you know, that's what you show up every day. You're not there to go half speed. You're not there to walk around, and hey, there to get better. And Demo really exemplified that. You know, shoot, every day showing up and working to get better.
did you notice any difference in Demo's attitude, behavior, or anything else over your time with the Bucks?
No, you know, I just saw him. You know, he was very competitive, and just you know, he wanted to get on the field. He just wanted to play, and you know, shoot, doing whatever he could to maximize you know, his reps and whatever he got in terms of playing time and all that.
Sure.
So he, you know, that's you know, shoot, that was Demo to me.
I got you. So what is your understanding? Do you know why he got released from the Jets? What have you heard? What do you know about that?
You
Anything?
know, I don't remember too much about, you know, what happened with the Jets.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if it became a situation where they had guys there already that they were kind of into or whatever.
No.
I just
Yeah.
know with the Buccaneers, you know, shoot, with
Yeah.
the way the linebacker room ended up, how it ended up with after, you know, after we got there in the free agency, and then and then the drafts, it kind of pushed him down on the depth chart. And I know that, you know, initially that was kind of frustrating for him. But hey, he continued to show up and continue to work hard, and you know, I know it was frustrating for him, but I didn't see him lose his passion at all for the game.
Yeah. Did you ever get a chance to hang out with him off the field?
Hung out a couple times, but you know, for me, I had, you know, shoot, I had 3 kids.
Yeah.
I had twins that were born right after our first season there,
Wow.
and then had a 2.5-year-old on top of that. So so for me, off the field was, you know, shoot, either guys, you had to come over and play some video games and maybe hold and change a diaper.
Yeah.
But but yeah, so I didn't, you know, I saw him occasionally off the field, but wasn't a whole lot.
Right on. What's it like when you hang up the cleats?
When you hang them up, man, it's hard, you know, because all of a sudden, you know, you're used to being in stadiums and yeah, where you got 75,000 fans in the stands, and people are calling out your name, and people are wearing your jersey number, wearing your jersey, to literally nothing. You know, the crowd isn't out there anymore. And so that in that respect, it's a different it's different in terms of transitioning back into, I call it transitioning back into society, because the sports bubble is it carries with its benefits and its disadvantages. And one of the disadvantages when you have to leave it,
Yeah.
because there's nothing out there that really replaces being on that field, being in a locker room, being in front of those fans, and all that. Nothing compares to it.
And this is our sport, football. It's you have to be a little bit off maybe to even want to play our sport, because before we knew anything about CTE or long-term issues with head injuries, long before that I knew at least that this wasn't a safe endeavor. I didn't understand the real potential, but at the same time, I know now, and I still would have played. I would have done things hopefully differently to prevent myself from getting concussions, but I still would have played, knowing what I know now. And I didn't, go anywhere with it. But there's something about our sport that I think there's a thread for people like me and you and Demo, and go down the list, Derek Brooks, Mike Allstott, your teammates in Tampa and Pittsburgh. But there's this thread, and now I think we can all say we have a crisis on our hands, though. And it's mental health, head injury. How do we transition from some people just from college, being a great college player, into life, and then others, but specifically looking at the NFL, because for so many guys, it's such a precipitous emotional drop and how could it not be? I mean, unless you've experienced it and it's an actual visceral thing, hearing that crowd, how could it not be? So I'm interested to see what you think we can do to start changing that conversation. Because again, like, to me, I want football around forever.
Yeah. I think it starts with helping guys transition out of the game, and then from there, there's a social welfare aspect of it. That you got to deal with a lot of issues. Why did a guy retire? When did a guy retire? What were the circumstances? I haven't run across many guys that are really, really happy about, their last couple of years in playing football. Guys are upset, whether it was injury or, being phased out, contracts, those types of things. That's a lot to deal with. And you're talking about young men having to deal with this. So there's a mental health aspect of it that needs to be dealt with. I hate, athletes at times are coddled, but at the same time, when you get into the real world, it's not, there's a lot of things you have to deal with. So I just think that, there's a lot when you start unpacking that suitcase. There's a lot in there that has to be dealt with regard to players' health, players' mental health, sustainability, financially. I don't think there's enough done.
I mean,
every guy's leaving the league with injuries, and so when you go try to work a job, and every guy has some form of disability. If you spent any time in the NFL, you said Demo ran down, you saw him fly down on kickoffs and bodies flying all over the place.
Yeah, somebody's
getting injured.
Yeah, him too. He's getting injured doing that. I mean, he's using his head.
Absolutely.
And you look at his story, and his is an NFL story too. just as much as it's a Black Lives Matter story,
Absolutely.
it's a tragic NFL story. And here's what hurts, okay, me. You cannot put Black Lives Matter before your pregame introductions and then not even acknowledge Demo on the back of your helmets. I mean, he's in the Say Their Names gallery. He's the only NFL player in the Say Their Names gallery.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Hardy, help me find a way. And I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm asking Michael Husted, Brad Culpepper, people that I've connected with, that Chidi, who have an enduring love for Demo. Like, let's get together and create awareness about his story so it doesn't keep happening.
Yeah.
And let's have the NFL be a part of it. Like, I'm not trying to, look, it was 1999. The people that are in the league now were not the ones that were there then. But I'm just saying, hey, look, maybe they're not aware of it. I've tried to make them aware. Maybe I'm not doing it the right way, but I want to make them aware, and I want them to be a part of this. I'm not trying to call out anyone as an enemy. Like, we need to come together with this. We need to create again, I keep saying it, a higher collective consciousness around this. So that means working with the NFL. And you know what? That means finding a way to work with law enforcement too, and getting people of color and people in communities where there's no resources together so we can start seeing each other as human beings. Because for people to hear Demo's story, it's so tragic and it could be so incendiary. For me, it's important to like reveal the depth of the tragedy and the depth of the injustice, but at the end to bring us together, like around this story. So, I want to know if you remember where you were on July 24th, 1999, when you heard, but what do you remember hearing about Demetrius dying, and what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I heard about that, and man, it was disheartening, just the whole thing. From, and it's angering that, I know this for a fact. If he was not a Black male, that probably would not have ended up the way it did. And that's disheartening, because the sight is, oh, I see this big Black athlete, and the first thing that law enforcement thinks is I'm gonna start shooting. It's saddening, it's disheartening. His situation should never have ended up. Demo should be here with us today. He should.
Yes.
I should be able to get on a plane, fly down to San Diego, and see a guy that I played with, that man, I love the guy.
Yeah.
And it's just a shame, and it's just those types of situations have just continued even up until today. We talk about George Floyd. We can Michael Brown. We can go the list. The list goes on and on. And I'm with you. Demo's story has got to be out there. And you're right. If the NFL is going to say erase racism and Black Lives Matter, then Demetrius DuBose's name should be on the back of somebody's helmet.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Thank you. I appreciate it, because it's a brave thing to do. I mean, you put yourself out there, and you're somebody. My name is my name, and I'm somebody too. But I see, you know what I mean? Like, not everyone will do what you just did. You're not the first person I've asked to do that. You're not people that were, at least on the surface, closer to Demo. And it's too much. And you know what? Everyone has to make a living. I understand it. There's no hard feelings. But it's also, I will acknowledge people that step up and are brave with it. And, you know, I'm sure you had your own experiences with law enforcement, just like I have, but I'm sure they're starkly different. And I'm also not going to assume anything. You know, I come from a family of police and military people. And my grandfather walked the beat in a bad neighborhood. Hammond, Indiana is not a real nice place. It's not Compton, but, you know, it has its share of trouble and disparity and decay, like Watts, you know, over reliance on one industry, you know, and then it's gone, and it's just everyone leaves, and the only people that stay are the people that can afford to stay, and it's a repetitive cycle, you know. So I want this to reach across all of that, and I want you to know that I really respect you, and I look forward to meeting you in person someday. We are going to have a memorial vigil. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, on July 24th, the 22nd anniversary of Demo's passing. It's going to be right in front of Little Sam's Market in San Diego, where he was shot 13 times. And we will walk down Mission Boulevard for 13 minutes. We don't want to inconvenience anyone, but we do want people to understand what happened to our friend.
You know, John, he was shot 13 times.
Yeah, 6 in the back.
6 in the back, but 13.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. Come on, man. 13 times. You know, and the truth of the matter is that could have been me.
Yeah. I mean, look, some people argue 11, some people argue 12, but I looked at the autopsy report. I've looked at it 500 times, and I looked at it again last night, and I did my counts, and I see at least 13, because there are some like graze wounds that they're not even calling. So, you know, anyway, I want you to look at me, because I know we've been on a minute. All right. And we have a certain amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Shoot, man. You know, you just think about the whole story. It's what a tragedy. And, you know, it didn't have to happen.
I have a couple more things. I have a couple more questions. And you're right. It didn't have to happen, and it shouldn't have happened. And it wouldn't have happened if I was sitting on the steps instead of Demo. So this is your chance. I ask everyone that knew him to do this. Just look at me because Demo's all around me. I'm telling you right now. So just look at me as if I'm Demo, and say what you would say if you were still here on Earth. You had one last chance to say something to him.
Demo, man. I'm sorry this happened to you. I'm sorry this has happened. I wish I could take your place. But there's going to be some justice in this, brother.
Amen. Okay, and one more. Hardy, this is your chance to say anything about any subject, whatever comes from your heart, though. As long as it's from your heart right now, I just want you to say whatever you want. This is your chance right here.
I hope that there is some justice. That this thing gets rekindled. There's some justice behind Demetrius DuBose's name. I'd like to see him honored in some way. You know, I think what things that can be done for players that continually come into the league and depart the league, you know, the issues that players have to deal with beyond after their careers, I hope that those are taken seriously and not just taken and used as PR titles and those types of things, where you know, you go for, if you're getting an examination for for a concussion syndrome or CTE, that things are taken seriously and you're not put into a bucket called race norming. I'd like to see things.
Hey, explain that a little more to everyone. Race norming.
It's where doctors have the NFL has had doctors who have ruled that Black players didn't quite have the mental capacity as their teammates, white players. Therefore, when Black players have gone to get examined for concussion settlements and those types of things, they've been shut out of them because they've been normed as not as intelligent as their white cohorts from the start. So the point systems, there's a disparity in the grading and the point system that is in place for the awarding of those benefits for those players. So yeah, that's what you have in a nutshell.
But I didn't mean to cut you off. I think it's important that other people understand that. I think that's a very, very much an overlooked issue.
It is an overlooked issue. And if that's the case, how many guys are maybe suffering from CTE? Who knows? I mean, Demetrius DuBose might have been suffering from CTE. We don't know that. But if he had gone to get an evaluation, that evaluation probably would not be correct because of racism. So that's the stuff that's got to change.
Well, let's do it. Let's get out there and do whatever we can to start making changes. I'm not a lunatic. I don't expect for the world to shift and for there to be humongous changes. But what if it gives one person pause enough to reconsider something? Then that's the change we need to look for. We need to look for the change where we're telling the stories of Demetrius and others in places like Hammond, Indiana, and Compton. People that have been overlooked and forgotten. And Demetrius, it's unbelievable. How has Demetrius DuBose been overlooked and forgotten? You knew him and I knew him. That's not the type of person that can be overlooked and forgotten. It has to be intentional. And it has to be intentional because the media swallowed the narrative from law enforcement and wrote whatever they said.
Yeah.
It's been forgotten.
Yeah.
Sorry, I get a little riled up, man. This has been my life's project for a minute now.
Yeah.
Man, but this has been beautiful. I have love for you, man. I appreciate you. And I do. I look forward to meeting you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Take care now.